What's going on today, guys? Welcome back. We are back in the garage, and if you guys have been following along for a little while, you guys know that we have been knocking out some work on our second gen project here, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So when we picked up the truck, you guys know it was completely bone stock. We've been adding some parts here and there, but as far as tuning programmer wise, still completely stock. So we're going to be changing that today, and that's the goal for today. We're going to be installing our programmer. So talked to a lot of different people with VP trucks, VP 44 trucks, and a lot of them recommended Quadzilla, and that's what we ended up going with. Went with the Quadzilla Adrenaline, the newest, latest version of the Quadzilla Adrenaline. Came highly recommended. A lot of people are having really good luck with these, and also we'll go over some of the reasons why I chose this. Big one being the fact that you can custom tune on this truck. So we can make some custom tunes. We can get a tune up exactly how we want it in the truck. So that is what we're going to be doing today, installing this baby. All right, so let's move this over here and kind of go over some of the reasons why we went with this one and kind of unbox all of this stuff that's in here. So this thing does a lot of cool things. So you can monitor fuel pressure boost, EGT, all of that good stuff right on the display screen. So you're with the iQuad, your phone is actually your display screen. So you can, or a tablet actually. You don't have to use your phone full time. You can use a tablet, an Android, or an iPhone tablet, I believe. Some of the other cool things that this Quadzilla Adrenaline can do besides all of the custom tuning stuff that we'll get into, 11 different power settings, 420 foot-pounds of torque gain, 180 rear wheel horsepower gain, completely plug and play. You can actually data log, which kind of goes back to the custom tuning part of it, but you can data log it. You can kind of lay out all of the stuff that you're monitoring, and you can kind of get into the custom tuning. So the Quadzilla Adrenaline also fuels up to 3,700 RPM, which is a little bit higher than some of the other tuners out there as well. All right, so here's everything that kind of comes in the kit. We got it all laid out for you guys so you guys can kind of get a general idea. So here is the main module that will get mounted up. This is just a connector that plugs into your map sensor. Again, they give you an EGT pyro for this that plugs into the main harness. This is the fuel pressure. Here's the fuel pressure sensor. So we'll actually have to tap into the line that we just ran from our AirDog. This is the connection for your iQuad, which kind of sends out the signal that hooks up to your phone. And then these are all of the connections in the harness. This is the main one, and we'll just have to run all this stuff. It's probably got a power, a ground, and some other signal stuff. I know this one is to your data link. So we're gonna go ahead and install this thing, and then we'll catch back up with you guys. So really the last thing I wanna touch on is kind of like the custom tuning part of this. So you guys know, like, all of the common rail stuff that we do, custom tuning and being able to control a lot of the engine parameters is what makes more power, a better driving experience. So this is where the Quadzilla really shines opposed to some of the other tuners that are out there. You have control over a lot of the boost fueling, stuff like that. So if you have a truck that has you know, a big setup on it, like big fuel, big air, you can really try and get this thing to drive without a ton of smoke. You can change all of that, and they kind of give you instructions, and we'll be going over that kind of at a later date. Today is really just the installation part of that. We kind of need to get our feet wet a little bit ourselves, learning all this stuff, but they give you this manual that kind of goes over everything. And again, we're going to go over it ourselves. We're not an expert in this, but I know just from the little bit of research and talking to people that I've done, the fact that you can change a lot of this stuff. And I mean, even like say this VP that we're going to put on this truck and the VP that's on that truck now, each one is different. And I've heard a lot of times, like, you know, you gotta play around with some of the settings to kind of get like max power out of some of these. So that is where this thing is really gonna help and just kind of give us an overall better, smoother driving experience as we kind of come up with what the truck likes and what the truck doesn't like when we start changing some of the hard parts. So we're gonna jump right into the installation now. We have to drill and tap the manifold to get our EGT probe in there and kind of run some of this stuff. So we're gonna jump right into doing that, and we will catch back up with you guys when we're done. We have the installation pretty much complete. Just want to show you guys a couple quick things before we wrap everything up. You guys saw the Quadzilla Adrenaline box here, and then the iQuad box kind of right behind it. Those are just double-sided taped down. And everything is pretty much connected except for the battery connections and the wire that needs to be actually tapped into the VP44. So all of the other wires are kind of ran really neatly down here. The installation, very, very easy. It's very, very plug and play. It's really just a matter of how, flashing the camera, the light at you. But it's really just a matter of how neat you want to run the wires, is how much time. Other than that, it's a very simple, easy installation. And again, all of the wires, like the map sensor, we did go ahead and install the fuel pressure gauge in the air dog line right there, you can see. And we also did put the pyro in the exhaust manifold. So we installed that. A lot of aftermarket manifolds are going to come like pre-tapped. We started up the truck while it was running, while we drilled and tapped that. That way, anything was just gonna come out of there and not go through your turbo. So that's pretty much it. The main key on power is the same wire that kind of comes. I'll show you guys that. Same wire that kind of comes into here, comes into your little fuse panel right here. So that's where we have our air dog powered, and that's also where we have the Quadzilla powered right there. So that's the only wire that has to come through the cab. Other than that, that's pretty much it. The last thing I really want to show you guys is, like I said, you do have to tap the VP44 pump. The way that this controls some of the custom tuning and power level stuff like that is through tapping your pump. So this is the other VP44 that we had got that we will be eventually swapping on here. What Quadzilla does is give you this posi tap kind of sort of thing. Wire that we are going to tap, you can kind of see, and there's plenty of videos that get a little bit better detailed, but there's a lower and a upper set of wires. You want to go with the upper set of wires. You can actually kind of see this pump has already been tapped. It's right here, this guy right here. It's the upper set and the right hand side, the ones closest to the engine block. What you're going to do is you're basically going to slip this first part of the gray wire through there. You take this second part and you kind of just screw that in until it bottoms out. I'm not going to do that obviously because we're not going to do this one right now, but those two pieces right there, and then this is where you actually crush. You guys can see that. Focus. You put the green wire on the Quadzilla through here and then kind of screw that in just like that. So that is just a real simple, easy, we're not going to go crazy showing you guys, but that is how you tap the pump on this tuner. And that's pretty much the last couple things that we have to do. Battery power, tap the pump, a couple more zip ties, and then we'll go ahead and hook up our phone to this so we can show you guys a little bit of how all of this kind of works and communicates. Alrighty, so we have wrapped up the Adrenaline install, and what I want to show you guys now before we do anything else is how it kind of works in conjunction with your phone, maybe show you a little bit of the display, and we'll kind of go from there. So we're going to hop in the truck here and kind of connect to the Wi-Fi. Alright, so we're going to turn the key on so everything gets booted up here. We're going to go into the settings here and go to your Wi-Fi. Now, as soon as you turn the key on, you will see right there, iQuad. We'll go ahead and do that. Go ahead and download the iQuad app from whatever device you have. Again, this is all Apple stuff. And there we go. We are actually connected now to the Adrenaline, and these are the displays. So I'm just going to kind of put this down and show you guys a little bit how everything works here. Well, as far as I know they work. So right here, if you guys do that, you guys can scroll through and see all of the different parameters that they show you guys. So setting up your display screen is pretty easy. All you got to do is scroll through here, figure out which parameters you want to put on your display. I believe this one is timing over here. All you got to do is click and drag that. Let me see if I can hold this a little bit better. There we go. Click, drag, and there you go. And they actually have different screens. Oops. All right, there we go. We're back up. So you can see we have different screens here. So I've already kind of set this one up right here. As you scroll through, there's different, whether you like the analog, and then you just scroll up like that. You can scroll through here, all of your parameters. Oops, I went to the next screen. You click, and you just drag, and there you go. There's coolant. So there's tons and tons, like I said, RPM, timing, EGT, because we have our EGT probe, intake air temperature, all of this stuff. There's 5 pages of parameters you can select, and it's really, really cool. Like I said, you can also do the auto trans temp as well. So that is how we set everything up. And again, we'll go into all of this stuff maybe a little bit further in depth as I kind of get my feet wet. Here's the custom tuning. We're on the default profile right now, and you can set up custom tuning, sensor warnings. Obviously, we have everything shut off right now, but you can see if your trans gets too hot, fuel temp, stuff like that, warnings will come up. They'll blink, flash, yell at you. And that's pretty much as far as I know. We're going to have to go drive this thing and get a little bit more familiarized with everything. Close up here, and that way you can kind of do whatever dash display you like the best. Alrighty guys, so we learned a couple different things. Number one, we need to pick a higher gear for a burnout, because I'm pretty sure that thing was bouncing off the rev limiter the entire time. So I was actually expecting, and I'm not sure if maybe it's in the settings or whatnot. Like I said, we still have to get familiarized with the custom tuning, all of the settings in there. I kind of figured there'd be a little bit more smoke. The power definitely feels like we picked up a ton. So I know the adrenaline is definitely working. Feels great, very smooth, tons of power. So that was on level 10. The other thing that we learned is our clutch and our transmission are not very happy. So as we push things, of course, we are going to be finding weak points. The factory clutch, which I believe is the factory clutch, I'm not really 100% sure, seeing that I don't know the previous history on this thing. But good thing, sitting right over there, we have a new clutch for this thing now. The other thing that I learned is fifth gear in this transmission, you cannot shift very fast in right now. Can't even shift like, this is kind of the first time that we've really kind of gotten on this thing a little bit here. So when you try to shift into fifth gear real fast, or even like medium paced, it does not go in. Not go in at all. So you guys know that we want to try and send this transmission off to Cody at Super Stick Transmissions in Texas. We may do that when we decide to kind of pull the clutch apart. So I'm not sure. I got to look at all that timing, but I didn't really realize that because this is the first time we've tried to really shift this thing hard now that we got some power behind it. So you know, just part of the process. We're going to be finding this stuff. The other thing that we did do as well before we drive it is we don't have the suspension completely all set up, but we did get our new front shocks, which are a little too small. So also with the fleece shock tower delete plates, that doesn't help things as far as height goes. So we may need to find a little bit different shock, but we got about maybe 2-3 inches of downward travel. So we did that before we drove it, and I think that's about it, guys. As time progresses and we start adding parts to this thing, we'll kind of dive into the custom tuning part of the adrenaline and kind of use that as a base foundation of kind of all of the power goals and everything that we're going to be doing with the truck. So that's going to do it, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you have not already. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, and Harris, sorry, scatterbrain. This weekend is already over. This upcoming weekend, February 16th and 17th, is Motorama in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. There's going to be tons of stuff there. I'm going to keep reminding you guys until the event is here, but make sure you guys are coming out for that. It's going to be a great weekend to kind of just relax, hang out, and kind of hang out with everybody. So that's it. See you.